But it all comes into a mode when it's good. Speak up. Video.
Can I sit down?
Oh, yeah, Bhante, sure. Stop video on mute. What time it is? 10 minutes, Bhante. It's good. Hello, everyone.
And Lucia Ananda, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
then go to Sivananda, you can let them know when you want to start.
Yes, sir. Okay. Happy Sunday, everyone. We are in our third session, and I'm so delighted and blessed to have you again in this program. Yesterday we had a wonderful session. Again, thank you very much, Bhante, Rahula. You did an excellent job. I got feedback from many of our participants. They are very excited. It's so great. Thank you again. And again, as you all know, your journal entry, if journal submission is the key for my dissertation. And most of you are doing it. That's wonderful. And please, whenever you get a chance, log into that link and fill your feedback. So I'm collecting those, and that's why it goes to my research. And having said that, again, thank you very much for being here today. And I welcome all of you. And so today we're going to hear another excellent session from Bhante Rahula. Thank you.
So, friends, I want to kind of continue on where we left off yesterday in our discussion about mindfulness. And yesterday we talked about, the purpose of mindfulness and sort of the technique of mindfulness, about how it's basically a training of our mind to be more grounded in the present moment in order to know what our body and our minds are doing, kind of from moment to moment, at least in a general way, to be more centered and grounded and not to be so kind of reactive to sensations and things that are going on around us. Actually, the practice of mindfulness, it's kind of like creating a buffer zone within the mind. And along with concentration, it's like a buffer zone in which you can hear and see and feel and observe thoughts, but there's a kind of a space, a little space between the observing mind and the reactive nervous system, the reactive mind. Because there's two parts of our mind. There's passive mind, which is awareness, and then there's the active mind, which is driven by activity and influenced by desires, attachments, aversions, ego, and all these other things. So the mindfulness helps to shift more over into the passive state of awareness, at least to a certain degree, enough that where you can like observe an itch and say, oh, an itch is right, okay. And see that urge to want to scratch, but then say, well, it's really not that necessary, And you conserve my energy and just stay centered and you see how it goes away. So like that, it's a cutting edge, gives you a cutting edge fraction of a second or a second or two before you would normally react. So that's on a very practical level, a functional and practical level. That's really where mindfulness plays its very important role, especially in our daily lives. Now, there's more to it in terms of developing deeper levels of concentration and developing wisdom and so on. But for the practical, for the application of this in your lives and your works as heads of companies and having to deal with all kinds of problems that arise in that on a daily basis, this function of mindfulness, creating that kind of brief little buffer zone between our being able to just observe before reacting, will save a lot of unnecessary problems. Now, I wanted to go on and come back to the difference between mindfulness and clear comprehension. So we mentioned, these are two things that are mentioned by the Buddha, mindfulness and clear comprehension. So mindfulness, the function of mindfulness is to isolate a particular feeling or a thought or an urge or an impulse, kind of isolate it within that buffer zone of awareness and be able to contemplate and saying, is this really necessary, what I'm about to do? You know, like maybe retort to somebody or to give somebody a reaction or you know, whatever it might be, but it gives you a split second, especially if it's something negative or some unhealthy impulse. You know. Is this really going to be suitable for solving the problem? But that's the clear comprehension. So the mindfulness is isolating whatever situation that's arising, whether it's a thought, emotion, it's a painful physical feeling, and then the clear comprehension is this going to be suitable for accomplishing the purpose of what I'm supposed to be doing. And so that where this involves a mental reflection, you reflect on it. Is this proper for a CEO, how they should react to their employees, for example? That's just one example. Or, you know, whatever else it is, maybe you're demanding too much of your employees, or it's too quick of a short of time, and to be able to reflect, is this going to be suitable for maintaining harmony within the group, and also, you know, balancing those two main functions of the CEO, right? That somebody mentioned yesterday about, you know, always wanting to, you know, get better in the company, to expand it and make it better, and those things. But at the same time, balancing your the needs of the employees too, and not over demanding too much from them, and also getting to know them, empathizing with their problems. You know, they all have family issues, right? And you have family issues yourself. Your employees have family issues. So to be able to empathize with them, you know, if they need some time off, or if, you know, for whatever, there's so many different things come up. So, but anyway, that's where the clear comprehension and the balance is being able to hold that particular impulse or thought in the mind, and then you know, try to understand the nature of it, and if it's going to be suitable to accomplish the purpose, and to maintain peace and harmony, and also understanding that everything is impermanent. And even though we try to control things, ultimately, we can't really control anything. And we can try to, but if we try to overly control, then that also becomes an imbalance. So that's where, you know, on a practical level, in integrating the practice of mindfulness and clear comprehension into the daily life, and not only in your work, but in your family life, and in your social life, and just in your interactions with people in general, and and learning how to conserve the energy. That's also a very important part. As I mentioned that yesterday, about when you feel an itch or some other thing, you hear somebody talking. You know, we don't always have to, you know, turn our head to look at everything that's going on necessarily, or to rub and scratch and itch everything. We learn how to endure these uncomfortable feelings and to conserve our energy. And that conservation of the energy then will become more a mental power that you can really then see underneath the initial reactions, and be able to see the deeper kind of goal beyond that, and see the situation more clearly. So that also dovetails with a practice that I'm going to be explaining to you now also, about how to integrate, you know, this meditation, the practice of mindfulness, into the daily life, because that's where it really counts. I think you've all heard the word karma, right? It's a very popular word now, in the Western world, karma, that's my karma, that's your karma, so on. But, basically it means action, but it also means the results of our actions that come back to us in that boomerang effect, as I mentioned yesterday. So there's we have to integrate these teachings in our daily. You create most of your karma there in your daily life, in your interactions with others, whether it's family, friends, colleagues at work, and so on, in board meetings. That's where we create the karma, the tendency to use wrong speech or wrong body language or some other, any sort of going against the standard moral precepts, or letting your desires cause you to do something unskillful that's going to bring problems in your life, especially in terms of say misconduct in the senses and so on, and hurting or abusing others through one's strong greed or desires or aversion and anger, and doing a lot of unskillful things that also then bring guilt, worry, or remorse into our life, and that would also affect your ability to perform your duties, as a leader of people. So being a leader in a company also means not just leading a company, but you have to lead in your life. You have to be an example in your life. And this bears out in, following, a basic kind of moral standards of conduct and so on in our daily lives. So people will look up to us. If they know you're doing things behind outside of the company, things that are not cool in whatever relationships, or taking drugs, or so any kind of things that also would affect on your ability. So the practice of mindfulness and clear comprehension can be used in all those situations of what you're doing, and all because our ego is very strong, and our ego is very attached to its desires and its opinions, and you get caught up in certain kind of habits that affect others, and that creates a lot of problems. So having said that much, meditations of two kinds, basically. One is a formal sitting meditation, so like what we do at the end of this program, where when people say they meditate, they usually mean they sit down, in a quiet place, and then try to focus on their concentration subject. In this case, it would be like the breathing or the body, developing a concentration and learning how to keep the mind grounded in the present moment with the breathing process, and with the body itself, feeling the sensations, and just learning how to. Actually, there's a nice little image of a bird sitting in its nest. It's a little analogy. A bird sits in its nest, and then it flies out to get food. Our mind is like the bird. The bird always flying out to get food. But then the bird comes back to sit in its nest to rest. And so our mind is going out to the past and future, getting involved in all kinds of thoughts and arguments or what. And that's a lot of mental energy. It drains a lot of mental energy. And so to be able to come back and rest in the present moment, come back to the body. So the body is like the nest of a bird. It comes back to rest in the present moment. That's a very nice kind of little image to remember. So like in the evening or morning before you go to work, or in the evening, ideally people who meditate on a regular basis would meditate in the morning after getting up and before you start your day's activities, usually around, maybe even before having breakfast. And then in the evening, before going to sleep. And the morning meditation, even if you just do it for a minimum of say 20 minutes or 30 minutes, longer the better, usually, but at least that much in the beginning. That helps to set the vibration of the nervous system for the rest of the day. By being able to sit for still 20 to 30 minutes and just be, with the body and feeling the different sensations, watching the urge to want to speed up and to keep on just letting go and developing that habit, just to develop that present moment awareness. So that will help you to stay with you longer during the day. And then in the evening, but by the time the afternoon comes by, the effects of the morning meditation may have worn off. And again, you might be, have lost whatever edge of mindfulness you would have cultivated. And so in the evening, to regain that edge again, or especially in the evening to practice forgiveness and loving kindness. And whatever happened to you during the day, not to hold it in your mind and keep churning it around, but also to reflect on the day and say, okay, maybe I talked a little bit out of place, or something, or maybe I offended somebody, and to, sort of ask for their forgiveness, maybe not directly to them, but even in your own mind, or forgive yourself. Oh, yes, I did that, okay. Rather than beating yourself about it, you say, okay, I was unmindful. Let me do better tomorrow. Let me be more mindful, especially if you know there's certain people that push your buttons, right? And before going in to meet them, you have to kind of prepare yourself so that you can be more relaxed and receptive to what they're trying to tell you, so you can hear it over your whatever predetermined ideas that you might already have about the person and so on. But anyway, so in the evening, you can forgive anybody that may have crossed you, or ask for their forgiveness if you've hurt them, or just forgive yourself. And then wish all these beings to be well, peaceful, and happy. So it helps to calm your mind and to release any negative thoughts, vibrations that might have come to you during the day, so that you sleep. Hopefully you would have a better sleep, sweeter dreams, and wake up in the morning more refreshed. So that cycle of morning meditation, evening meditation is ideal. I mean, most people that have integrated meditation into their daily lives and have made some good progress in that. That's usually most of them will have a routine like that. Now comes a problem of in between. Between the morning meditation and the evening meditation, there might be 10 hours or 12 hours. Let's say 6 in the morning to 7 or 8 at night, or 9 at night already. So during the day, there's a practice. So anyway, meditating in the morning and the evening, you could say, is good karma. That means it's something you're doing that's good for your mind and also for your body. But the real karma is the karma, as I already mentioned, that you create during the day itself and all of your interactions. So this practice that I'm going to describe to you now, it's called practicing an M&M, right? You all know what M&Ms are. Just raise your hand if you know what an M&M is. Candy, right? So they're small and sweet. How many people like M&Ms? You might not have too much sugar. Anyway, so, but they're small and sweet. And so there's a meditator's M&M. And that's called a minute meditation. People will hear that. Oh, a minute meditation? Oh, yeah, I like that. Only 1 minute. But it's a specific practice of you train yourself to stop every hour for 1 minute. Kind of just break that push to the future and let go of the past and future and bring your attention to the body, because the body is in the present moment. Whether it's sitting or standing, it doesn't matter, and take a couple of deep, slow breaths. Even just taking one deep, slow breath, we take several seconds to breathe in and hold the air in the lungs for 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 seconds. Then slowly breathe out. That calms you right down. It's better than an injection of a tranquilizer. It's really a miracle. Just taking one slow, deep breath, you stop what you're doing and bring your attention and just, at the end of the out breath, you feel forgotten about what you were worrying about or what you were driving to the future about. It's such a nice, pleasant feeling. But you can take 2 or 3 of those deep, slow breaths. But basically, you just remind yourself of the present moment. All right, standing. Now I'm just standing. And try to feel that vibration of present moment awareness. Maybe there's some sounds going on in the office or around you, but there's a little buffer zone that's creating the buffer zone. And that deep, slow breathing helps to do that as well. And then, so all that can occur in 1 minute, if you know. And then you continue what you've done. But you try to practice that every hour, throughout the day. And so it's a practice in which you can release the stress of the previous hour, anything that happened to you in the previous hour. Again, as we already mentioned, some negative contact with somebody, or just the stress of rushing. Oh, I don't have enough time. It's got to be done by 1 o'clock. So you just kind of try to let that go for a moment. Take a couple of deep, slow breaths, and then you slowly or gradually start, carrying on what you were doing. And then maybe, you might lose it again, get caught up, but you train yourself to do it every hour for 1 minute. Why do we choose 1 minute? Because really anybody can stop for 1 minute. Even great big busy CEOs, which, pardon me, my expression, step on anybody's toes or anything, but, so, anybody can really stop for 1 minute. I mean, there may be some cases if somebody's had a heart attack and you're down there giving them CPR, you might not be able to stop for 1 minute. But in most cases, you could. But usually you do it between different jobs. So let's say you just finished checking your email. Okay. Then before going to check your phone, do an M&M there, where you're sitting. Just pause and stop. Break that kind of rush to grab the phone. Just stop. Take a deep breath, breathing in, sitting, breathing out, sitting, just here and now, kind of relax any tension that you feeling from that previous kind of rush and so on. And again, just for 1 minute, and then you continue again. But so you can make a plan that it happens between those little breaks. If you went to the coffee dispenser and you got your coffee and sit down, for a minute, practice one there before you start your break and so. But the purpose of that is you release the stress of the previous hour, so you don't carry it over into the next hour. Because that's what happens to a lot of people, isn't it? They go on collecting kind of little stresses after little stresses, hour by hour throughout the day, without ever really stopping to relax and release them. They wind up, a frazzled wreck at the end of the day. And there was, imagine, they have to stop the bar on the way home to get a drink, or massage parlor to get the muscles relaxed. So this is a way of learning how to relax that tension hour by hour. For example, let's say a person, you get up in the morning and your alarm clock didn't go off. And you get up late and go, oh my gosh. You jump out of bed, and then you run to the bathroom to get ready, and then you trip over something left on the floor by your roommate or your child or whatever. And you go, doggone it. Maybe some 4-letter word, slips out. And then you go to the bathroom and find out somebody used the last of the shampoo. Doggone this. And you go down to the breakfast and open the fridge, somebody drank the last of the orange juice or took the last piece of bread. And then you go out, your car won't start, you come to the office, the internet is down, or the night janitor misplaced your pencils or something. And you get all these short little irritations. And one of them by themselves may not be a big deal, but they accumulate. So we need the M&Ms help to diffuse that hour by hour. So that by the end of the day, you won't be, hopefully you won't have that kind of stress. And then you might go home and take it out on your dog, or your family members, right? Get cranky, your kids or spouse, and so on. So these M&Ms during the day are very important for that. And there's other special times when you can do that, is before you have a meeting. Let's say before you go into that board meeting or that company meeting, or you have to talk to an employee about their work, or you have to talk to the boss about a raise or whatever. So you prep yourself. I mean, you know yourself, everybody knows themselves, and what puts them on, pushes the button. So you prep yourself by doing an M&M, take a couple of deep breaths. Okay, whatever happens in there, let me not lose my cool, let me stay in touch with the body, let me not use any negative words. And so you prep yourself. And hopefully when you go in there, if there is some kind of tension, some issues, and you'll be more in touch with the body, and you can feel yourself tensing up. Your teeth are grinding, or your arm, or you're fidgeting around. These are all warning signs of tension and so on. And if you're more in touch with the body, you'll notice them a lot sooner. And you can just mentally, quietly in your mind, just relax. Listen to somebody talk and you're getting irritated. You see that urge to want to butt in or defend yourself, but wait until the appropriate time. Anyway, so like that, you can use that at times to prepare yourself for different types of meetings and so on. And we chose 1 minute because, again, anybody can stop for 1 minute. If I said 2 minutes, that may be a little bit too long, or 3 minutes. So 1 minute, I mean, we waste so much time anyway, don't we, during the day. And when you're rushing around, you waste a lot of time. Because when you're rushing to get things done, you wind up making mistakes or getting into some accident. You reach out your arm real quick unmindfully and knock over a bottle of ink and then ruin your papers on your desk. Or you knock over a glass or whatever. You have to clean up some mess. Or you're typing something up and you're daydreaming, you're lost in your thoughts, and you have to go back and correct it. So in our rush to get things done, oftentimes we make mistakes, and had we been more mindfully and do things more in a slower way, we might get them done even quicker and more efficiently. So this is another good benefit of practicing mindfulness in the daily life and being more grounded, and training yourself to just move a little bit more slowly so you can really be aware of what you're doing, aware of what's going on, and you can avoid unnecessary accidents or mistakes then get you frustrated on one hand, but then also then you have to spend more time cleaning up the mess, so to speak. Or let's say another example: you drive home, and you're in a rush. You have to go to a meeting in 1 hour. You have to take your kids to some soccer game. So you get out of the car, you rush inside, you put down your keys, you go into the bathroom, take a shower, you're thinking about the future, then you're getting dressed and you start, looking for the keys and, then you have to spend time looking for the keys, and maybe you got late for that next appointment. But had you moved a little bit more mindfully, like from your car, and just walked more slowly, mindfully to the front door and open it. And then especially when you put something down, because the mind works on memory. The mind is like a camera. And so to really observe where you're putting something, whether it's your car keys, whether it's your pen at your office site or something else, to really have your eyes there and kind of remind you that I'm putting this here. It was almost like taking a mental photograph of that, and what maybe was next to that. Then when it comes time to remembering where it was, you'll be much better positioned to remember it clearly, because the mind remembers everything, but on an unconscious level. And so that's also a value of the practice of mindfulness, moving slowly and being mindful of where you're putting things. Your memory is connected with mindfulness too, having a good memory. Because again, the clearer we're focused on something, the mind will remember it more clearly. But even if you're not focused, the police department has done a lot of research in, to catch criminals, right? So let's say a person burglarizes a store or somebody attacks somebody, and then the victim can't remember anything, but they if they're hypnotized a lot, they can remember some things, or they will. They've done experiments in which the mind remembers, even like you walk by a shopping window and you see the price of some clothing on a mannequin. Normally you wouldn't remember it. You weren't even really looking at it. Your eyes scanned across it. But yet, and then if somebody asked you, how much was that? Well, I don't know, I can't remember. But it could be revealed through maybe hypnosis or some other kind of therapies that they're doing, and the mind can remember that. So anyway, I'm just mentioning that is just to try to emphasize this practice of not only the M&M, but even in your general movements, to practice just slowing down just a little bit. Not to look like a zombie, but just to be mindfully when you're reaching your arm out, just being aware of, reaching the arm out, and doing things, and instead of that kind of really, really fast actions that the mind can't get around. But the more slowly you do it, and the more awareness is there, and you'll apt to remember that much easier. So these practices of that helps you to close the gaps during the day. It's like collecting raindrops from a roof. If you collect just a few raindrops from a roof, if you have a barrel collecting, one or two drops is not going to be enough to quench your thirst. But if you get enough of them, then it will be enough to wash your hands and quench your thirst. So the same way with these minutes of mindfulness. And it's especially important for people who don't seem to find the time to do the longer meditation in the morning or evening. But even if you do the morning meditation and the evening meditation, which doing the supplements, this is like a supplement. How many of you take vitamin supplements? Not very popular, right? Vitamin supplements. Well, these are like vitamin supplements. To supplement your longer, whatever other sort of longer meditation you might be doing, it helps to bolster it and supplement. And it doesn't require a big sacrifice. Again, just 1 minute, an hour, or it could even be as less as 30 seconds if it had to be. And especially learning the deep, slow breathing. That's out of all my years in training in Asia, in yoga, in meditation, I found that learning to develop deep, slow breathing is one of the most amazing and beneficial things for overall health and well-being, but also very useful during meditation too, as a way to gradually get into meditation and to help to stay grounded in the body. So now, apart from doing those M&Ms, let's say, as a kind of a practice, a training, there's other times during the day where you might have even just 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds here or there where you have kind of idle time. You're standing around waiting to get the coffee machine, or you're standing in a post office, or you're in a supermarket, the checkout line, or even if you're parking your stuff at a red light in your car. Instead of looking around or just letting your mind think about the day's problem, you could just bring it to feel your body sitting in the seat, feel your hands on the steering wheel, just come back to sitting. Or hearing, maybe there's traffic with horns honking, and just kind of try to touch base with that present moment. And then, when the light turns, and continue. Or even when you're going shopping. Shopping is stressful for some people. Make it fun. So you go into you get your cart, you go into the supermarket, and do some walking meditation. Now, I didn't teach you any because there wasn't enough time to really, I don't know, maybe Venerable Silananda taught you some walking meditation. But, just walk slowly down the aisle and have a list. Because normally, if you don't have a list, then the mind will then start looking at things that it doesn't maybe really, really need. You get more distracted. So anyway, but to walk slowly and relax and be aware of your reaction to other shoppers. Oh, that lady should take care of her kid. Or, that lady's, a judging mind, right? We're always trying to judge people or compare people. So that's considered not, usually it's driven by our egos. But so, just to be relaxed and, Just come, be aware of your looking at things and the thoughts going through your mind. Well, maybe I want that one. Maybe I want that one. And then, use clear comprehension. Well, do I really need that more sugary type of food? Is that really going to be useful for my health or whatever it might be? You can observe your desires or aversions. But, and then when you come to the checkout line, you have to wait. Instead of criticizing somebody's hairdo or the shoes they're wearing, just to keep your mind on your own body. You just feel yourself standing in line, feel your feet on the ground. Just tell yourself, standing. Then if there's the magazine rack in the side, they have magazines, all these tabloid magazines side by the cashier. And you can see your eye going to that. And usually people will run down and see, oh, Michael Jackson was reborn. So instead of letting your mind get into that kind of stuff, just keep your eyes in yourself and just practice that Eminem there, You gotta stand there anyway, right? Or send out method to the cashier that's been standing there for a long period of time, or maybe she's having trouble with her machine and the customers in front are getting upset, and you can just send out metta. May they be well and happy, free from suffering. Instead of adding your own negativity to it, you can do these kind of things that will help to strengthen your mindfulness and to help to relax your mind. So, this is really practicing the mindfulness in the daily life in a very practical way, so that we conserve our energy, not only our physical energy, but more so our mental energy, and that will help us to be more friendly in our interactions with others and so on. And also, as I wanted to, as most of you are, I guess, CEOs, and I don't really know what all that job entails. I've never been one, but anyway, you can encourage your employees even to try to practice that sometimes. If you find it beneficial for yourself, you could, even suggest that kind of thing sometime to them to stop it once an hour for 1 minute, and take a couple of deep, slow breaths. Or even if it's not just once an hour, anytime you feel yourself kind of rushing too fast, or you feel some tension in the body, just pause. Take a deep, slow breath. Even 15 seconds of just taking one deep, slow breath will help to relax the body and mind and get back to your edge. So, but again, whenever you're having more personal interactions in meetings and so on too, you can monitor yourself. Actually, meditation is like a self-monitoring. So we have our computer consoles, and they monitor the various output devices. And so mindfulness is kind of like that. It's like a part of the mind that awareness is monitoring your body and noticing when you're starting to get tense, when you're starting to fidget, you're starting to, move your knees back and forth, or, twiddle your thumbs, or, these various kind of nervous twitches and so on. You can notice that and say, oh, keep telling yourself to relax. Relax the physical body and to relax the mind. Because any deeper meditation comes out of that state of being relaxed in the body and relaxed in the mind. And then those of you who want to go on and, of course, develop maybe a deeper meditation practice, I mean, there's many deeper levels of meditation beyond just mindfulness. But the balancing of concentration and mindfulness, that's really the key process in the beginning phases of meditation. Concentration is the ability to keep your mind focused on what you're doing, but mindfulness is kind of the background alertness that's aware of potential distractions. Like it's aware when you're starting to get nervous. You're starting to aware when you're starting to get angry. Aware when some urges arise. It's kind of like a background awareness that tries to interfere with the concentration. Or if you're starting to go drowsy in meditation, the mindfulness is up, drowsy, straighten up the posture. Take a couple deep breaths. So when you start to get lost in your thoughts, the mindfulness is up, thinking. Oh, I'm lost in my thoughts. Then to be able to let it go, if appropriate, and come back to get re-centered and re-grounded on your meditation subject. But in this case, it's usually the present moment of the breathing or the body or a combination of the both. And in the more developed levels of mindfulness, it becomes almost like you have a video camera turned on inside of your skull. And it's actually taking a video of the inside of your body. That means in terms of sensations. So that even when you're not even meditating, like you can be aware of so many sensations all over the body, and to know what you're doing, because it's kind of like there's a video camera going on simultaneously there, not as a visual image so much, but as a widening lens of sensation. So even in our sitting meditations, we did yesterday, I might have suggested, have the idea that you're watching the body sitting and breathing. So it's like almost like a video camera there inside your head, just being aware of the outline of the body, being aware of the expanding and contracting sensations and so on. And that is a more advanced, deeper level of what we call present moment awareness. But anyway, meditation has many deeper levels of development, and they all have their deeper and deeper benefits too. But especially in terms of your work site, and you're interested in using this to improve yourself and your work with others. That general kind of mindfulness is the starting point. And if we can't at least even do that much, there's not much hope that you'll be able to develop some deeper levels of concentration, mindfulness, and wisdom. So that's what I want to basically, share with you. And actually, wisdom is the combination of concentration and mindfulness. I have a little formula. Concentration plus mindfulness equals wisdom. And Bhante Gunaratana always chants after meditation, there's no concentration without wisdom, no wisdom without concentration. So these things are not really separate things. They're kind of functions, different functions of dimensions of concentration, of consciousness. The concentration is a more focused point of concentration, where awareness is a more open degree of awareness. But it's simply like the same camera, it's just focusing in or out, right? You can focus in on an object with a camera lens, right? It's a specific object, but then you can back out and get a wider view. So in meditation, you can also do that. You can be focused on the subtle movements of the breath, but also at the same time, within that, you can feel aspects of the larger body as well. So I wanted to ask you yesterday, before we did meditation, we stood up and did a few little exercises. Now, how many people did that or felt that was kind of helpful for them before we sat to meditate? It would help you to have a better feeling in your body, perhaps stay a little bit more alert and awake, okay? So that's sort of one of my specialties, actually. I'm one of the few monks that actively integrates yoga with the Buddhist meditation, although it's becoming a little bit more popular these days, but that's where I found it's because the first foundation of mindfulness is being grounded in the body. And yoga and yogic breathing is one of the best ways of helping you get initially grounded and centered in the body. And then when you sit to meditate, it's like you're already meditating. You're already there, halfway there. So you don't have to battle the hindrances of a stiff, painful body or and so on. So I thought we would then do that again today. Everybody's game for that. Do a few exercises. Saw some thumbs up there. What do you think, Dominic? Okay, so we'll take a couple minutes break, get ready for that meditation, and then I'll guide you through a few of those exercises, and we'll meditate, and then we'll have a time for questions and answers at the end, as we did yesterday. Okay? We'll meet back in a few minutes.
Hissing sound, hissing sound is coming. I'm hoping it's not important. Let's just clear it. And fix it.
Is everybody back now? So, just trying to find a place where you also might be able to move your arms a little bit. So, just stand straight, relax your arms and hands at the sides. Feel your feet pressing the floor. Just gently close the eyes. Just feel the feet pressing the floor, the arms and hands at the side, the head balanced on top. Just try to feel that outline of the standing body. Then begin some deep, slow breathing. You take 3 or 4 seconds to slowly breathe in, expanding your abdomen, rib cage, and upper chest, holding the air in the lungs for 2 or 3 seconds, and then slowly letting out the breath, feeling the last bit of air go out of the lung. Just think like this to yourself. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, standing here and now. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, standing here and now. And as we did yesterday, we're going to combine these movements with the same kind of breathing, doing the movement while breathing in, holding the position for 2 or 3 seconds, returning to the starting point on the out breath, repeating each one 3 times. So on the next in breath, raise the arms over the head, interlock the fingers, turn the palms up, straighten the arms, stretch your head back, stretch upward at the same time. In the out breath, turn the palms down, touch the top of your head. And in breath, palms up, straighten the arms, stretch the head back, bend back a little bit. Out breath, touch the head. Once more, in breath, stretch upwards, hold it a little longer. And release the fingers, the out breath, arms back to the side. Relax, close the eyes, feel the feet pressing the floor. Don't let the mind wander to the future. Mentally feel the outline of the standing body. Remember standing, standing, standing. The here and now of the body. Letting go of the thought. Just letting them come and go in the back of the mind. Keeping breathing body in the front of the awareness. And next we're going to do side bending. On an in-breath, raise both arms up over the head like this, so to keep your fingers and arms straight. And on the out-breath, bend over the right side as far as you comfortably can. And keep the arms and hands parallel to each other. Feel the stretch in the side. In-breath, lift up. Pause a moment. Then the left side, out-breath. In-breath. To the right, out breath. In breath. Out. In. Once more to each side, out breath. In. Out. In. On the out breath, lower the arms. Relax. Close the eyes. Feel the body. Try to feel the increased life force sensations, pulsation. And with clothing touches the skin on different places. Remember standing. 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 And now spread the feet apart about 3 feet. The wider the better. And holding the arms out at the side, we're going to do twisting from the right to the left. Try to keep the arms kind of up parallel to the floor. Breathe in. And look at the right hand on the out breath, twist around to the right. Keep the eyes focused on the hand going back. On the in breath, come back to the front. Let the feet turn with the body. And then the other side, out breath to the left. In breath to the front. Let's continue that 2 more times. Each side, out breath to the right. In breath, front. Other side, out breath. Mm-hmm. Out. Mm-hmm. Out. Mm-hmm. And relax. Close the eyes, feel each foot pressing the floor. Feel the hands touching the side leg. Feel the clothing touching the skin on different places. Feel the head balanced on the top. Feel some sensations on your feet. This body exactly as it is, here and now, present moment awareness. The more sensations you can feel, the less time for your mind to get lost in useless or unimportant thought. Then we're going to do one more exercise, forward and backward bending. Because in yoga, the spine is the most important part of our body. And because that's where all the nervous system, main nerves of the nervous system are located along the spine and go out to the rest of the body. So keeping the spine in a good flexible condition where you're able to flex forward and backward, flex from the sideways and even laterally, like with the twists, all that helps to develop a good spinal and nervous system, helps them keep them toned up, and the energy channels open. That's why it's very good to do before you meditate. So there's forward and backward bending, keeping the legs apart, with the hands touch the front of your legs. On the out breath, bend forward, but keep the head lifted up, looking out straight ahead. Let your hands come down over to the knees the first time. Try to keep the legs straight, the arms straight, flatten the spine. On the in breath, lift up. Move the hands under the buttocks for support and gently let the head go back. On the out breath, gently bend backwards, not too far the first time. Look up at the ceiling. On the in breath, carefully lift up, feel where everything is shaking. And the next out breath, again forward. Let the hands come down below the knees, about halfway. If you can, still keep the head up, legs straight. In breath, lift up. Again, the back bend, out breath. And bend back a little more. In breath, up. And out breath, let the hands come down as far as you can toward the feet. And then hold that position longer. Feel the stretch in the back of your legs, the muscles. Do some shallow breathing while you're holding that position. And begins lifting up. One more time, the back bend and under the buttocks. Carefully, gently bend back. In breath, lift up. On the out breath, just relax. Close the eyes. Feel each foot pressing the floor. Feel the hands touching the leg. Clothing touching the skin in different places. Feel the head and the face on top. And this body exactly as it is, here and now. So feel that organic aliveness of the activated cellular vibration due to the movements and oxygenation of the blood. So many different little sensations, prickling sensations, pulsations, maybe aches and pain. Okay, now bring the legs back together. Actually, one last exercise, the head turning. On the in-breath, turn the head to the right. Look over the right shoulder. The out-breath, 80 degrees back to the left. Look over the left shoulder. In-breath to the right. Out-breath left. In-breath right. Out-breath left. On the in-breath, let the head stop in the middle, relax. And mentally feel the outline of the body, standing, standing. Feel the subtle vibration of the inner internet web of the nervous system. Okay, now go ahead and come back to your seat. Get ready for sitting awareness. Okay, friends, from that yoga exercises and breathing, I hope you're able to get more of a feeling in the body. So if you're able to do that, try to keep in touch with that as you're sitting down. Don't let the mind wander. Just focusing the mind again in the body. Try to plug back into that level of body-centered sensation. Just try to sit straight, keeping the back of the head, spine in a straight line. Gently close the eyes. And focus your attention down to where your buttocks press the seat. It's like looking down through a microscope. Just focus your attention down like a camera lens, focusing a camera lens where the buttocks press the seat. See if you can notice the right and the left buttock, some sensations from the pressure. Just remember sitting. Now the body is sitting. And let the awareness kind of move down your legs, around the knee, down the lower legs. Eventually come to your feet. Just feeling the sensations that you find on the surface of the skin or underneath the skin. When you come to the feet, first of all, feel your heels. Focus on the heels, feel the subtle pulsation. Feeling the arches of the feet. You can do one at a time or both together. And then feeling the toes. If you can notice the outline, differentiate the big toe from the other toe. Feel the subtle pulsation. Where they press each other. Again, remembering sitting. These feet belong to the larger sitting body. Now let the awareness move up to feel your hands and fingers where they touch together, where they touch your body. And notice them, differentiate the thumbs and other fingers. Subtle pulsation or warmth. And feel the weight of the arms hanging from the shoulders. Clothing touches the skin of the shoulders and arms. And just imagine, feel like there's a movie camera going on. Video, feeling those sensations. Sitting. And again, now feel the head balanced on top of the neck. Check the chin, try to keep the chin lifted up level to the floor. Just feel your face. Feel the skin stretched over the front of the skull. Subtle prickling sensation. Feel the lips touching together, the upper lip touching the lower lip. Feeling the tongue laying in the mouth where it touches the teeth. Like scanning with a video camera through the body. Moving up to the eyes. Feel the eyes resting in the sockets, and the eyelid stretched over the eyeball. Feeling the subtle eye movement, the REM. Relax the eye. You might see some light or color or a mental image. Now from that point behind the eyes, again like a video cam, feel the inner face, sensations, the head and face. Expanding the focus out to the outline of the body. Feel the outline of the sitting body. Generally sense the buttocks and feet pressing the ground underneath. The arms and hands at the side, clothing touching the skin, the head on top. Just using the peripheral vision, centered behind the eyes, but yet feeling the top of the head, the feet underneath, all points in between. It's called body-centered awareness. A natural body-centered awareness. A bird sitting in its nest. Just feel all those organic, alive sensations. Now again, begin some deep, slow breathing. Reoxygenate the bloodstream. Hold the air in the lungs for 3 or 4 seconds. Feel the pause. Just take several deep, slow breaths like that, cultivating this basic mindfulness. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, sitting here and now. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. breathing out, sitting here and now. Breathing in, feeling the whole body. Breathing out, feeling the whole body. Continue to do the deep, slow breathing longer if you like, if you're getting tired of it. On the next out breath, let the controlled breathing alone, just let the breathing return to its shorter, irregular rhythm, uncontrolled rhythm. And continue to feel it. And try to keep that outline of the sitting body in the mind's eye, but in the middle, focusing on subtle expanding and contracting movement. Just try to notice the 4 phases of each breath. The in breath, and the brief pause. The out breath, and the brief pause. Over and over again. Try to notice how each breath is different. Sometimes longer, sometimes shorter. Try to feel subtle sensations where the clothing rubs against the skin, the belly, the chin, your chest, causing friction, sensation. Just make that the primary focus of your body-centered awareness. You can use these brief mental notes to help remember. Just in, sitting, out, sitting. It's the ongoing, continuous connection to the present moment. This breathing body is a connection to the present moment, the natural connection. It creates the buffer zone between the body and the thought. And maintaining that continuous connection to the body, be able to kind of just be aware of the thoughts moving to the back of the mind without getting carried away by them. So there's all kinds of disjointed, disconnected thoughts. Urgent. Just sinking the anchor of awareness deeper into the body. Feel subtler and finer, detailed sensation in the breathing body. So many different kinds of sensation. Stinging, itching sensations, prickling sensations, pulsations, clothing touching the skin, aches or pain, it's all coming and going and changing. It's cultivating that feeling of being a scientist in the laboratory, looking down the microscope. You might notice the thoughts of I, me, or mine, or wants or desires. They're just bubbles of thought that come and go. In the space of present moment awareness. If there's any urge to move, just be aware of urgings, relax around that urge. The urge disappears. You catch the mind lost in thought, recognize it as lost. Find the body sitting on the floor. Take a deep, slow breath, bring the mind back into the body. Back in, sitting. Out, sitting. And just try to observe that continuous flow of change and impermanence from moment to moment, body sensations, feelings, thoughts, urgings, just coming and going, arising, vanishing. In the space of present moment awareness. natural awareness, where the I, me, and mine is not functioning. What kind of thoughts are triggered off by that sound? Dukkha pata chani dukkha bhaya pata chani bhaya sukha pata chani sukha hontu sabbi pipani no. May the suffering be free from suffering. May the fear struck be free from fear. May the grieving be free from grief. In this way, may all beings live with mindfulness and wisdom. And thus spoke the Buddha. Okay, now just mindfully place your hands at the edge of your knees. Slowly come out of the meditation. Take a deep, slow breath as you're breathing in. Stretch your head back. Pull the hands against the knees to arch your spine. Hold it a few moments. And lift the head up. And on an out breath, press the chin to the top of the chest. Stretch the neck vertebra. And lift the head up level on an in breath. And relax on the out breath. Still try to keep your attention lightly, feeling the body. Okay, friends, I hope you're able to have a peaceful meditation, some kind of good sense of what awareness is on a deeper level, um, and what the importance of that would mean for our life and well-being in general. It's all part of clear comprehension. So now we're coming toward the end of our short little weekend workshops, seminar on mindfulness. And so I'd like to open it up to any sort of last questions that any of you might have about anything that I've been discussing in the last 2 days, or meditation practice itself, and so on. So feel free to ask some questions like we did yesterday. If you want to raise your hand, and this Gamini would call on you to, if you'd like to ask a question. Don't feel shy.
Eileen has a question.
Okay.
First, thank you so much for your wisdom. It's been a really miraculous. I went on a long hike yesterday, and I just practiced saying walking, walking, walking. It was really cool. My question, though, is around delusion. And both you and the Bhante from last weekend, spoke about delusion. And I'm not. Could you say a little bit more about what is the nature of delusion?
Delusion is thinking that something is real when it's actually not. And especially in terms of people. I mean, we all know deluded people who think they are something that they're not. Especially like some of these religious people from the past, deluded, thinking that they were the anointed one, or their God was speaking to them, and then they led them all to their deaths or other kind of catastrophes. So that's a very gross example of delusion, but it just means thinking that you're something that you're not, or you're something special, or just be like these theories. A good example is some of these theories. Now, I'm sorry, I don't know if some of you might belong to some of those groups. I hope not, but you never know. But they believe in these weird theories, like some really corny ones, right? Like I can't even remember them. But so delusions are basically that. And so in the Dhamma, the delusion is thinking we're permanent, and that our ego exists as some separate permanent entity. Now, that is one of the deeper delusions, one of the deepest delusions within the Buddhist concept of no self. That's why one of the main tenets of the Buddha's teaching is anatta, or no self. Basically, that means that the feeling, we all have the feeling of I am so-and-so, and we have a family history, and we have our hopes and wishes, and so on. I, me, and mine. So I, me, and mine are the trinity of the ego. But as we learned, a baby's not born with that kind of I, me, and mine thoughts in their head. They're more connected with that natural present moment awareness. Many of you mothers probably can attest to that, right? Young baby until it gets to be about 6 months old before it starts reaching out and grabbing and crawling around to grab things and so on, and learning language. So the people that cling to that I and build it up, like some politicians that we can, recent examples are quite clear about that. They're clinging tightly to their beliefs and opinions, and themselves as being the anointed one, and whatever it is. So this is delusion, a type of delusion. But clinging to the sense of I and thinking it's real, and then wielding the power over others and wanting to, that is, from the Dhamma point of view, a delusion. Because it leads to suffering for oneself and others. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you so much.
But that's what when you reach deeper levels of meditation, even in the practice, what we were just doing, if you were able to hold your attention grounded in the body without it wandering in the past and the future, you would get a taste of that experience of no self. And it's not that difficult to do, but it does take training. Because the self is made up of the past and the future. It's totally identified with the past and the future. When the awareness is resting in the present moment, there's nothing to judge, there's nothing to compare, there's no history of yourself from yesterday and projected into tomorrow. It's just the here and now of breathing in, breathing out, body sensations. And so the sense of I fades away. It's like an ice cube melting in a bowl of water. The ice cube thinks it's water, right? And the ice cube looks like it's different than water, but when it melts, it becomes water. So the same way with our ego consciousness. It's a solidified because of delusion, because of ignorance, and because of attachments and aversions. This little, I consciousness has become solidified. And we keep it solidified by our clinging to it and identifying with it and building it up. But when you let go of that in meditation, you can actually feel that dissolving. And that's a liberation. That's a great freedom. A lot of people, how can we exist without the ego? Well, you can. Don't worry about it. Maybe not in the same way as you did before, but in a much better way. Anyway, I'm sorry if I spoke too much. Any other questions?
We have Anthony Gordon.
I just wanted to share, this has been coming up for me a lot because of some of the work I'm doing, but it also came to mind during your talk today, and I just wanted to add it. One of the ways that I think we experience delusion is with our biases.
I can't hear you very clearly.
One of the ways we experience delusion is with our bias.
Yes.
So the beliefs we have and the assumptions we have about the way we want the world to be, or the way in which we think other people should be, and then we use that as our interpretation. And so it starts with the bias, which is delusion, and then it sort of like a magnifying glass amplifies it with everything we look at, because it's always through that lens of delusion. And so, Aline, I think, I know you've studied bias. That's, I think, another example of delusion.
It starts with that, the ignorance, and the aspect of judging and comparing. That's why that's considered a fairly negative mental trait, in judging and comparing oneself with others, because usually we're always putting ourselves as the best, and comparing everybody downward, or even, thinking I'm inferior to somebody else. That's also ego, because you're clinging to the sense that you are some permanent person that's inferior to somebody else. That's also delusion too, but it's a less serious one than the other one that thinks it's superior to others. Well, they're both equally probably not healthy. But yes. So how many of you think you can be able to practice some of those M&Ms during the day? Think you can do that? Is that doable?
Can we use peanut M&Ms?
Peanut M&Ms? Whatever keeps you taking them.
Those are my favorites.
Some people keep an actual pack of M&Ms in their pocket, and when they see that, they remember, oh yes, minute of mindfulness.
We have one more question from Tina.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much for spending all this time with us yesterday and today. So I am very new to meditation, and when we meditated yesterday and today, I think what allowed me to enter this space of the here and now is you talking. But how do I meditate if you are not talking to me?
Yes, that's the purpose of giving guided meditations. It's help to put people's minds on the track, like you put a train on the tracks, right? And then it'll eventually follow the tracks. So our mind works by memory. So if you listen to a guided meditation enough, it will become programmed into your head that you would be able to just talk yourself through it. You know, it's not that complicated. You can memorize those few words. It's only a few words, right? You know, it's just a matter of using like guided meditation tapes, and I have 100 of them up on my website. You know, most of them are similar to the ones I gave today and yesterday. Slightly, you know, little differences, but pretty much the same. Just learning how to gradually get in touch with the body, and then using the breathing and sensation to just keep reminding yourself. And those labels, that labeling technique is good to help you, you know, to check yourself when you're starting to get lost in your thoughts. Thank you. That will come back, you know, or pain, kind of observe the painful sensation, kind of relax around it and come back to your breathing and so on. So yes, I would say, you know, these things have been recorded, and if, you know, and on our website I have lots of them, and Bhante Gunaratana has a lot of meditations, even probably Venerable Silananda too. So there's lots of you know, guided meditations. It's just finding some that you can relate to more, and they seem to help you, and then gradually do it without. That's why when I give teachings, like once a week, I give a class and I give a guided meditation. Then I expect the people to try to meditate during the week, you know, without it. You know, and it's not going to be so good probably for a while, but little by little, you will begin to be able to do it, you know, better and better.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We have one more question from Dr. Ludema.
Hi, Ed. My thanks to a couple of great days. Thank you very much. This is not so much a question, it's more of a comment, but I found yesterday and today, I think I mentioned yesterday that when I do my meditation, I typically, my mind wanders a lot. I have what you call monkey mind sometimes. And I found doing the yoga practice, both yesterday and today, and then also today, really focusing on like that video camera, wandering around in my body, that allowed me to focus much more fully in the present moment. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I give these type of little techniques, because these are things that helped me in the beginning, and I figured if they could help me, they could also help others. So that's why I offer this kind of thing, because you don't find it in all you know, other types, you know, of practice, especially integrating the yoga. Now it's becoming a little bit more common, but some people talk about, oh yeah, yoga is good for meditation, but I actually integrate it. So not seeing yoga as different from meditation, because it's about being, you know, grounding your attention in the body, and that's what yoga does, and that's what meditation, the starting point of meditation. So I don't find them different really, but again, they're mutually supportive. The body helps the mind to relax, and if the body is feeling good, And then that in turn helps the body too, because there's this biological, symbiotic relationship between the body and mind.
Thank you.
We have one question from Dr. Anand Sankara.
Yeah, thank you for your lecture today and yesterday. I was thinking about meditation and sleep, and you were talking about how the mind is the source for a lot of what we go through today, and meditation and everything you're teaching seems to be a way to control or center that mind a little bit, or direct that mind. But it seems like a pretty active exercise versus sleeping, because in sleeping you achieve that calmness and tranquility as well. So what's the difference between the two states?
In sleep, you're ignorant because there's no consciousness in sleep. But in meditation, you're like asleep, but you're awake at the same time. So your body functions are basically calmed down like you're sleeping, and the mind is not functioning so strongly, but there's awareness. So that's the main difference. In sleep, you lose awareness for the most part. But in meditation, you don't lose awareness. If you lose awareness, then it's not meditation. So that's the main difference. In the same way with a child might have present moment awareness that I mentioned, but they have ignorance, because it's the seeds of ignorance that cause them to be reborn in the first place. And so the baby is not consciously wise, where an enlightened person or somebody with awareness is totally conscious of that wisdom and that state of liberation, which somebody like a baby, even though it has for the first 6 months, it might be in a more or less a state of present moment awareness. There isn't really that conscious wisdom there, and therefore it gradually gets sucked into the karma from the past, and his ego consciousness redevelops, and then he gets caught up in the wheel of suffering again.
Thank you.
We have one more question from Patty.
Yes, thank you very much. I found the last couple of days very helpful and very reflective and peaceful. My question really is with regards to how much repetition is necessary to almost train your mind to automatically go into some of the mindful behaviors. And I'm asking because over the last nine months or so, a few months into COVID, I started meditating to sleep, to put myself to sleep, because I would find myself, my mind would just race. I mean, it always has, but maybe accelerated with and I began to meditate and went through a series of trials where, I kind of found some of the voices very annoying. So I found one I really, really liked, and you have used it repeatedly. And literally in the last month or so, I find myself almost within a few minutes falling asleep before I even get it turned on. So I'm just wondering if it's sort of like a muscle that you, or if there is a time frame that naturally begins to happen.
50 years. I've been meditating almost 50 years, and it gets easier and easier and easier and easier, but until one has attained full enlightenment, there's always the danger of delusions and other distracting thoughts coming up. So it's the same way with a runner or anybody who's, if they don't continue it, Yeah, it's like a muscle. You could say mindfulness and concentration is also like a muscle. And if you stop exercising them, they'll get weak. But until you reach what are called the stages of enlightenment, which is a permanent transformation of the mind, then it still requires that effort, but the effort becomes easier and easier, but you still have to remain vigilant. Because delusion and ego is always waiting to rush in and try to, exert its old habits and thoughts and so on. So until we reach what are called stages of enlightenment, which is, very high state, you could say, at least the highest levels, that's a possibility. So it's true that that's why you shouldn't listen to the guided meditations too much. Like don't make it a crutch, because then it's like listening to your favorite record, you might go to sleep. So you have to start exercising the effort to meditate. So, I would say, try to listen to the guided meditation once, try to do it on your own. And then listen to the guided meditation again, try to do it on your own. And then little by little like that, then gradually you would be able to do it on your own and get to the same place or so that you had with the guided meditation. And then that becomes the strength of your mind.
Thank you. I have 49 years and 3 months.
Starts with day one, that's all.
Thank you.
Andy, you have another question?
Now let me qualify that when I said 50 years. Every single person is different. And we don't know what we've done in the past. And some people might be able to reach those very high levels even within a couple of years. But the average person probably is going to take the whole lifetime. But we never know until we start practicing. So a person shouldn't think, oh, I'll never be able to do it. And, use that as a kind of an excuse not to do it. But, we have to, make that effort and then see what comes out of it. But there's a little adage, a little saying. If you put a little into it, you'll get a little out of it. If you put a medium amount into it, you get a medium amount out of it. And if you put a lot into it, you get a lot out of it. Okay, so it was nice being with all of you, and I wish you all the best in your, your work life, and hopefully you can balance and start integrating some of these things into what you could call, opening kind of a spiritual life, or at least a life of awareness and mindfulness, and see how that can, mesh. See how that can work together to make a fulfilling life.
This has been a great couple of days. Bhante, Rahula, thank you very much. And I don't have enough words to explain how blessed I am, and all of us. And this is so great. And I know my participant, including after the lecture yesterday, I got really great feedback. Those are wonderful. And so you are opening our eyes very much. And this is so great. And I really want to say thank you. And also Bhante Silananda, he just left. He had another event to attend. And then he wants to pass his thanks to you too. And this is so wonderful. And I'm hoping to connect with you very soon again. And we learn a lot. And this is unbelievable. Thank you again. Buddha Saranai.
Yeah. Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Buddhaya.
And one last thing. Mindfulness today keeps dukkha away. Remember that.
Yes.
Okay, friends.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. And we will see you again on 13th of March and the same Zoom link. Thank you.
Me?
And do not forget to journal entry. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Meaning, see your text.
Sure.
That's independent of the teachers.
So today was a good session.
Yes, yes, very good. Yeah.
It was on YouTube Live.
Yeah.
How many people?
4 to 5.